Well, good Friday morning, everyone. Happy finally Friday. What day is it? Yeah, no, it is Friday. All these days are running together. We got to get to it because we got a thunderstorm, as you saw, with the lightning and the thunder on the WeatherBug Network camera. I'm sure you're hearing thunder if you're in LaFleur County. Let's take a look at what we've got. Severe thunderstorm warning until 1:45. It's just now pushing into Tallahena. It's going to be a pretty intense winds, 60-mile-an-hour winds, quarter-size hail possible. The storm's kind of bowing a little bit, quite a bit of lightning with it. If we look at Heil Heating Cooling Mega Doppler, you'll notice just one cluster of thunderstorms that's affecting LaFleur County. There are additional storms that are popping up. Right now, they're kind of remaining to the northwest of northwest Arkansas, but additional activity is beginning to develop just over Tahlequah. But the strongest storm of the morning is no doubt this storm that's coming into Tallahena. You can see a little bit of what we call a bow echo. Bow echo is where you have a backwards C. That's some pretty intense winds that are coming in, and we're going to watch this closely. So this is a storm that could definitely impact the area. What's going on, Jimmy? Jimmy's up and at 'em early this morning at 1:30. Tiffany Ferris is up and ready. Really hoping for storms in Evansville. So far, Evansville's pretty quiet, but we'll continue to watch it for sure. But definitely Tallahena. This is a pretty intense storm that's coming in. You can kind of see that bow echo. Now, at the moment, the tornado conditions don't look really favorable, but it's not zero. You're going to notice a couple of things. First of all, if we look at Mega Doppler, you've got this what's called a descending rear inflow jet. So this is an indication that we've got winds that are racing out ahead of the storm, trying to get there. What that is a descending rear inflow jet, a decrease in reflectivity. That means that this bow is surging. So there's going to be some really strong winds near Fanshawe, LaFleur in LaFleur County, Tallahena, headed towards Worcester. There's also on the leading edge a little bit of these curls, so we've got to watch this. Sometimes those little spins right there could lead to a little what we call mesovortex. So right now we got the storm motion set to the radar. It's moving to the northeast pretty quick. And if we put this into motion, I'm going to take the lightning off the screen. You're going to see this storm obviously having a little bit of a bow echo appearance. There's that descending rear inflow jet. You can kind of see on the north end a bookend vortex. If there would be any type of tornado potential, it would be along the UDCZ, which is the updraft downdraft convergence zone, which would be right here where it's balanced, and also a little bit in the shear dominant region. And if we look, there's currently no real strong circulation, so that's good news. Let me set that storm motion from the warning again. So you can see a little bit of a circulation there, maybe a little bit on the leading edge. This is all stuff we're going to continue to watch. This, though, kind of makes me wonder what's going on. So Janice checking in from Bella Vista. So we're focused on the storm that's in the River Valley because clearly that's where the lightning is. That's where the activity is. You can see all the lightning that's showing up. This is a highly electrified storm coming in. And we knew we couldn't go more than 10 hours without thunderstorms with this pattern. Notice, too, the hail core that's showing up, too, on Heil Heating Cooling Mega Doppler. So this shows you that this storm is a little more intense. And this is going to be impacting LaFleur County here shortly as it crosses the county line. So what about the rest of Northwest Arkansas? Currently, everything's pretty quiet. There's not a lot of development at the moment. And so there's a chance that thunderstorms will move into Fayetteville, but right now everything's remaining to the northwest. As you can see, those thunderstorms are pushing northwest and moving away. There could be a little bit of redevelopment, but definitely the strongest winds and the strongest complex of storms is moving into the River Valley, solely focused on the River Valley. Harrison's really quiet, so there's no – I mean, if you're watching from Harrison, Dwayne, it's going to be a while before – if there's even any storms, they come towards your area. That'd be more like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, if that. So let me put a track on this, let you know where this is headed for our folks in LaFleur County. Anybody checking in from LaFleur County? The tornado watch was issued, by the way. It goes until 4 o'clock in the morning, and that has been extended for LaFleur County. We do have to watch the leading edge of this line. I don't like what I see here. Now, I haven't looked at all the tornado conditions to see if okay, there's someone from Poto. Nice. Well, there you go. You are going to be impacted by this. I like your profile pic too. That's kind of what I'd like to do to the weather. Stick my tongue out and be like, but unfortunately, my goodness, is this an active pattern or what? I mean, I haven't gone home. Knew I couldn't go home. We're watching this storm. Severe thunderstorm warning until 1:45. Let's put a track on this, let you know where this is headed. So I'm going to slide over to our computer here and moving to the east. Let's get this forward motion here so I get this right. Moving to the east at 30 miles an hour. So what we're going to do is we're going to put kind of a bow echo track on this. We're going to move that 30, maybe accelerating a little bit more. We'll take that. We'll kind of draw what's called a backward C. We'll move that to the east. That's the way the storm's moving, and this is the way it's going to move over the next couple of hours, almost straight east. If we put it into motion, you can kind of see how it's translating east and mostly due east. So I'm going to stop the loop. Here's going to be getting impacted. Poto. Brianna, get ready at apparently 2:34. So you have a little less than an hour from now that thunderstorms will be rolling in. Blackford, 2:44. Mena, for those on the south end of the bow, you are going to be getting impacted. Boy, the lightning is really starting to crank up too. And this is, by the way, from Fort Smith. We're looking to the southwest. So we definitely have a highly electrified storm. Oh, she's ready now. Thanks for checking in. Did you can I ask you why you jumped on here? Are you just up and at 'em early this Friday morning, a night owl? Or are you hearing rumbles of thunder, seeing flashes of lightning, and knowing the severe weather potential overnight into the morning, and you're like, I better keep tuned to the weather? Let's go back to Mega Doppler here and see if we've got anything that's evolving. So just a leading edge of the line, a little bit of a circulation there, nothing to really be concerned about in terms of strong rotation. So that's good. From what I have heard from the weather services, they've been looking over this, and I'll check this as well. Not that I don't believe them, but I just want to see it myself. It's that the low-level winds aren't super strong, and the 0 to 3 kilometer bulk shear isn't super strong. So what does this mean? All of that stuff kind of combines for basically the QLCS tornado potential is not great. Let's see. It's getting a little better. There is a little bit stronger, but it's still not quite sufficient. It's 20, 25 knots. That's not going to quite do it. But there is 30 in McCurtain County, so we've got to watch that as well. Let me show you what I'm looking at. Man, 35 people, 1:40 in the morning. Got the lightning tie on, obviously. Just in case got the tornado tie too. I'll tell you what, boy, oh boy, this is some, you can keep this. Look at how active this lightning is. This is pretty intense lightning. Watch. You'll see it start flashing like crazy. Now that I went to it, nothing's happening. See the low-level clouds, how they're not really moving all that fast? So the low-level shear is not tremendous. The tornado conditions aren't super impressive. Now it finally lightning. There's like barely any there. There you go. There's a little, yeah, there you go. There you go. That was a little bit more. Okay, so here's what we're looking at. We're looking at basically the mesoanalysis from the Storm Prediction Center. And so what this tells us is what kind of some of the ingredients are right now for severe weather potential. You'll notice that we've got a 0 to 3 kilometer bulk shear vector of 25 knots. In order for QLCS tornadoes, the research that has been done, it's determined that it needs to be at least 30 knots line normal component to the line of storms. And we're not seeing that. We're seeing 25. We've got 30 there. So if the line is oriented from northwest to southeast and it's up to 30, then that would be sufficient. Let's look at something else here. And so that's a 0 to 3 kilometer bulk shear. If we look at the surface cape, 0 to 3 kilometer cape, there is some 0 to 3 kilometer cape that's available in that area. So I'm not saying these storms can't produce a mesovortex. Whoops. I'm not saying these storms can't produce a mesovortex, but it's not super favorable. Because if we look at the wind shear, you look at the 0 to 1 kilometer helicity, it's starting to increase a little bit more as that low-level jet kicks in. Now we look at the 0 to 3 kilometer shear, it's right on the nose of that. If we look at some of the composite indices, what about a sig tor parameter? You can kind of see that really doesn't show up. If we look at a non-supercell tornado, that doesn't show up either. What if there's a QLCS here? Conditional probability. So there are some ingredients showing up out ahead of it. All right, we want to get back to the radar because that's enough doing analysis. We'll look at that again. But let's check out Megadoppler because we do have an addition now to the severe thunderstorm warning as that storm races east. So on the apex of the bow that's coming in, that's where the strongest storm winds are going to be. And you can see this as well. That's showing up as like, if we go right here, about 53 mile an hour winds that are coming out of the storm. And that's about 2,800 feet up. So Julie says the lightning is super crazy right now, shaking the house south of Whitefield. Yes, it is. It is crazy lightning. So that's the severe thunderstorm warning that goes until 2:30. And that was the newest one that was added. So let me go ahead and move this over and you can see right there. There's the newest warning. Goes until 2:30. 60 mile an hour winds, quarter size hail, and kind of on the north end of that bow. We'll continue to watch for the rotation, but you just don't see much. Maybe a little bit on the north end of the bookend vortex by Red Oak. That's going to be passing north of Panama, but that's the most dangerous portion of the storm. So let's just sit back, watch this lightning show while it's coming in closer. And here's what Julie says. Yeah, Whitefield is getting rocked right now. So we'll zoom way in here and you can see Fanshawe, LaFleur. How is Fort Smith? So Fort Smith, Tammy, is currently north of this line. So if we go back, you can see Fort Smith not included in the warning. Yes, there's lightning southwest of Fort Smith, but that's from this cell. And see how that bow echo is moving more in an easterly direction? That's not going to impact Fort Smith as much. Now, there is going to be some thunderstorm activity as that line makes its way northward. Look at all the lightning with it, too. There's quite a bit of lightning on the leading edge of it. So that's why that's going crazy. Yeah, woo, that was a big old flash. We'll go back to that lightning again. All right, so we're continuing to watch all of the stuff that's going on. All right. Yeah, bummer about the Razorbacks too, huh? I don't know if you guys watched the game or not. What's going on here? There we go. Wow, a lot of lightning. Quiet in Bella Vista right now. Yep, we know that, Lisa. It is quiet, and it's understandable because there's just not a lot going on. But you will see some cells that are trying to pop up, but they don't have any lightning with them. There's no upper-level energy associated with this, or not strong enough to fire off these storms. But you will notice a little bit of a line, and this could be the markings of the beginnings of a cluster of storms that evolves and forms. I think the majority of this activity is going to be focused in the river valley, which is why I kind of hinted at that. So if we go to the west, we'll zoom in here. Someone said south of Whitefield, the lightning is crazy. And so that was a report from earlier. Wow, tunnel lightning. It is. This is what Julie says, lightning is super crazy. Thunder is shaking the house just south of Whitefield. So Whitefield is a little bit west of LaFleur County, just to let you know. And yeah, they're on the north end of that, what's called bookend vortex. Now, what can happen sometimes is that these storms, if they last long enough, can produce what's called an MCV. An MCV is known as a mesoscale convective vortex. A mesoscale convective vortex is a spin in the atmosphere, and that can enhance the low-level winds where it can create tornado potential. So this is all stuff that we've got to watch and that we've got to continue to monitor this time in the morning with all this energy moving in. Also, a lot of flash flood warnings that are going out. Yeah, look at all the lightning here. So one last, or not one last, but we'll look at Northwest Arkansas is quiet. Yes, there's some lightning northwest of Delaware County. It's just not really making it into Delaware County yet. So a little bit of a development here and there. Adair County, you're fine. Jessica, you're getting a little bit of a pop-up right here. That's it. That could be the beginning stages of a thunderstorm. We'll see if there's any lightning that pops up on there. That's north of Westville. Other than that, there's just some showers in Adair County. So, Jessica, there's your update for Adair County. But again, working our way back here, there's going to be a little bit of areas that we've got to watch on the leading edge of this line. Let's see if they updated the storm motion. Yep, they did a little bit. So there's that, what we call a bookend vortex. It's on the north end of the line. And let me show you why. I can draw you this out here on, if we go to weather, let's see if I can do this. Let's see if it'll let me. Stand by. Will it let me? Yeah, it does. How about that? Okay. So I'm going to draw this on Mega Doppler. So this is 1:50 in the morning. Good morning, everyone. Really hoping for storms for me. So what's happening here is the air is descending down like this. This is called a descending rear inflow jet. And then what happens is if you have a wall, okay, like this, you have a wall like this, and it's getting pushed from the left side faster than it is getting pushed at the bottom and the top of this wall. Well, then eventually that wall is going to start looking like this. It's going to start bowing out. And that is called a bow echo. See how that works? When that wind accelerates in the middle part or the apex of the bow. So we'll draw this again. We've got winds that are descending. We've got your bow echo right here. I'm going to draw that in white so you can see that a little bit better. So we got that bow echo right here. And then what's going to happen is eventually there's going to be a spin up here that's going to be in a counterclockwise direction. And on the south side, you get a clockwise direction. See that? If you're looking at hands on a clock, that's the way that's spinning. Follow me over here, camera. So that's the way that's spinning. And that's why this part, if we put it in motion, you'll see exactly what's happening with that bow echo. And at the apex of the bow is the strongest winds. And so if you're just watching or you're just tuning in, we got about 50 people here now that are tuned in. I'm up early, Mike. Yep, I sure am. And it's not so early for you. You're about what, an hour behind, so you might have just got done with your newscast. I know. I'm up early because we got storms rolling in. But that's called a bow echo. And on the north side, you got a bookend vortex, and it's cyclonic, meaning apex. The apex is the APEX, one word. That is the point or the inflection point of the bow. So that's essentially right here is the apex of the bow. Oh, don't mind the arrows. But that's the apex of the bow, is right at the inflection point where it's sticking out the most. That's the apex of the bow. That's where the strongest winds are going to be because it makes sense. Now, when we look at, because that's where the winds are accelerated the most, look at where the strongest winds are. See these bright blues? That's right at the apex of the bow. That's where the strongest winds are. And we're looking at nearly 50, 55, 60 mile an hour winds right at that. So that's coming in towards Worcester, Howe, Heavener, and yes, Poto. And also there's hail too coming in. So it's about to get real here pretty soon. Brianna, if you're watching from Poto, you're going to be impacted. There's a look at the hail core. We'll take the lightning off. We'll look at the storm relative velocity. So remember that spin. So we've got winds that are moving away from the radar and towards the radar. Well, there's your counterclockwise spin right there. And then you've got your clockwise circulation right here. So that kind of shows you that's away, and then that's towards the radar. So towards the radar, away from the radar, right here, you can see there's your clockwise circulation. So pretty cool. It all makes sense if you really break it all down. But the good news is that maybe we aren't seeing those tornado conditions. Mike Allen, remember him? He was my former co-anchor on Fox 24. We haven't had rain in weeks in Vegas. We could use some of this. Putting in those long hours. Oh, I appreciated it, man. Where is this? This is, let me give you the wide view. There's Northwest Arkansas. There's the River Valley, south of I-40, one cluster of storms that we're watching closely. Other than that, there's one little tiny little shower that's moving over Cincinnati. Other than that, everything's pretty quiet. I have full-on coverage for everything, just don't want a tornado. All right, sounds good. Well, we'll keep you updated what's going on. So everything's pretty quiet in Northwest Arkansas. But we have this one little bow echo that's coming through. Let me read what the Weather Service wrote here. So this is what they have. The mature bow echo, which is what we talk about, moving into LaFleur County has slowed a bit on radar and velocities are down some too. The enhanced winds a little above the surface appear to be pulling away from the bow now, and we are hoping that this continues to weaken. There has been an increase in radar coverage in northeast Oklahoma, and there will likely be increase in showers and storms in northwest Arkansas as those faster winds lift northeast for the next couple of hours. So faster winds aloft, what that's going to do is that's going to bring strong flow, and that allows more rising motion. So here is a look at the weather bug camera from the Fort Smith Public Library. So the lightning has gone down some. And so that's how you can tell that storm is tending to weaken a little bit. Jordan says, just joining now. How is everything looking for the Fort Smith later on tonight into the morning? So we're already kind of in the morning, way in the morning. It's 2:00 in the morning. But I get what you're saying, Jordan. But everything's looking all right. There's a little bit of rain. Hello. How you doing, Savannah? I'm watching a severe storm that's coming into the River Valley right now. It's happening right now. And you can see the lightning too. We're just doing a Facebook Live. We got someone that's going to be getting some hail in Poto here pretty soon. Thankfully, no tornadoes, so that's good. Are you tired?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same here. Thumbs up. Oh, Mike Allen is on here. Here, you got to say hi to Mike. Come here. Ready?
Hi, Mike.
Yeah, there's Savannah. She just came walking in. So, what's going on in the news today?
Oh Lord, I haven't even logged into my computer yet.
You just walked in.
Literally.
Is that a BTS? What is that?
Big
No.
Time
Oh,
Rush.
Big Time Rush. Oh, I heard a lot of people like Big Time Rush.
We miss you too, Mike.
Miss both of you, Mike. Mike's living it up in Vegas. That's what I heard. Big Time Rush. That's cool. Did you go see him when they went to the Walmart amp? You like their songs?
Oh
Oh yeah. Right on. Well, if there's a tornado warning, that'll be a big time rush. But I think we're all good with this so far. So let me explain what they were talking about. So the strongest winds are racing out ahead of the storm. And if we look here, what I like is we could do a 2-panel and we could do a split screen so you can see that if I put a little dot right here, place marker, that's just a little bit out ahead of the main line. And so it does not appear that it's a super strong core anymore. So we'll put this into motion. The lightning has gone down a little bit. We'll let that load up completely. So earlier there was a pretty strong circulation. You can still see that near Wilburton, right there. See that? Right at the north end of the apex of the bow, which is the bookend vortex. And you saw why that spun. And then everything's pretty much gone. Michelle saying, can you talk about the storm north of your location? Yeah, I can. So we'll work our way up, and you can see that there is another storm near Veneta. That's nothing really super major. And there's just not a whole lot of other activity right now. Just one little tiny cell that's popping up. So good question right here. And I wonder if that's what you're talking about, because really there's not a whole lot of other activity. There's just those two things that are on there. So maybe it might be very little thunderstorm activity in northwest Arkansas, but it still could develop and pop up a little bit more. Here's a good question from Jimmy. What direction do tornadoes spin? CW, which is clockwise, or CCW, which is Creedence Clearwater Revival? No, that's CCR. CCW is counterclockwise. So, Jimmy, believe it or not, most tornadoes, about 99% of tornadoes spin in a counterclockwise direction in the northern hemisphere. That is positive. That's called cyclonic. That's called obviously low pressure in the northern hemisphere. About 1 out of 1,000 tornadoes rotate clockwise, which is called anticyclonic, and that is extremely rare. Typically, tornadoes are counterclockwise. So if you see a graphic and it's spinning clockwise, it's a very rare tornado. Christopher is asking, is there anything happening in Fort Smith, Arkansas tonight? A little bit of thunderstorm activity, but nothing super major. The stronger storm will be a little south of Fort Smith. Let me get your question off there so you can see. This is the storm that we're watching. Severe thunderstorm warning. It goes until 2:30. It is slowing down a little bit. It's looking a lot less organized, or much less organized. And the lightning has gone way down too, which is all signs that the storm is weakening some. But we still do have that severe thunderstorm warning until 2:30 in the morning. Anything coming towards Madison County, I'm pretty tired too. I think you can go to bed. I think you're good. There's not going to be a whole lot of thunderstorm activity in northwest Arkansas. There may be a few rumbles of thunder, but the good news is I don't think we're having anything super major. So Chris asked, how about during the daytime hours tomorrow? And that is something that we can definitely discuss, because we do have a severe weather risk, and it is for tomorrow afternoon and evening. So I wonder if I'm ever going to get some sleep. Now, after this comes through, and once Josh rolls in here from his storm chase, which I heard it wasn't a big success, but there's the. I think I'll be able to go home. Here's a look at the tornado watch that goes until 4 a.m., which will be expiring a lot sooner than that. And then there is a look at the severe thunderstorm warning that goes until 2:30. And so if we look at the severe weather risk for tomorrow, or should I say today, it's basically a very large marginal risk. There's going to be some hail potential. There's going to be some wind potential. And the tornado potential is very low. So, but it's still there, and it barely clips our area. So we'll watch that. Future models have been pretty horrible, but we'll give her a shot and we'll see what it shows. This updates every hour, and even though it updates every hour, it's still been really terrible. Like, look how much thunderstorm activity is in Northwest Arkansas. Like, no, not happening. So far, it's not. Now, maybe that'll change and it'll blow up more, but so far, that is a far cry from what it's doing. This has been a really difficult week with computer model forecasting, along with looking at oh my goodness, all the model output, all the what we call composite reflectivity. It's just been terrible. I mean, there's just no other way to slice it. Just absolutely terrible. Mike, I see your question. I'll get to that here in just a second. I just want to show you my least favorite model now. In fact, I don't even have it loaded on here. It's so bad. This is called the 3 kilometer. Let's see if it actually has any storms. About an hour ago, it didn't have a single storm in the area. Let's see if it's. And now, okay, so what is wrong with this picture here? This is what's happening right now at 2 a.m., according to this model. And this is what's actually happening. Severe thunderstorm warnings, flash flood warnings, and a giant cluster of storms in southeast Oklahoma approaching the river valley. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong. Remember that? That was like from Sesame Street days. Man, that was taking me back. That was a long time. Knew it would be the graph. I know. And someone said, gosh, really awful forecast. That's what I used for the acronym for the graph. Someone had something else too that said it wasn't a very good forecast. So, oh yeah, you're good. Whitefield, good night. I have scared kiddos refusing to be in bed alone. They're fine. Rumbles of thunder. The storm's out. You're finished. Done. Good night. It's over. You're fine. And just to prove that, in fact, it's probably not even raining anymore, Julie. So you're good. Nighty night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. At least no severe weather for us on Mom's Day. Or is there? Well, let's see. I actually think there is. Or at least thunderstorm activity. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't looked at the new day 3. It's coming out soon. I know thunderstorms are a possibility. Yeah. So that's Sunday into Monday. We'll see if they update that. But yeah, at least no severe weather. But keeping her muddy, you'll be able to do that. Starting to hear thunder in Poto. Let's see what we've got for Poto. Oh yeah, it's really falling apart though. So that's good news. A little bit of gusty winds. You'll get probably 40, 45 mile an hour winds. Charge phones in case anyone loses power. Great idea. Put your shoes on too. If you have to take shelter, you won't though. I'm just on here just to keep you guys company and give you comfort too. Nothing popping up in Northwest Arkansas. I'm looking at it right now. So let's look at the radar here. We'll check out Heil Heating Cooling Mega Doppler. We'll watch this. Hopefully you'll get rest during the day. I hope so. I have to drive my son to school in like 4 hours or 5 hours. And my wife's not feeling well too on top of all that. So, yeah. Kind of a bummer there. Fort Smith. All right, so here's a look at the camera. Have someone do your shift. You know, that's not a bad idea. Zach went home a little early. Keeping her muddy. Trust me, been doing that. Square body is covered from top and brown mud and red clay. So the lightning is not nearly as much as it was. There's no structure that we can see on this. I'll shift it over a little bit so you can see Poto about to get impacted by these storms. Yeah, good question on that. Gosh, what a tricky forecast. Because there's all these little waves of energy, there's all these little disturbances, there's all these little things that can fire up thunderstorm activity. And so let's check it out here. Really won't be able to give you exact details on what's going on just because it's so far out and there's so much uncertainty. But I really do think like each day, afternoon and evening, there's storm chances. And it's like, I know it's frustrating. So here's a look at I'll bring this up for you. We'll watch that. I disappeared. I'm here. See? Hello. My health is important. There's no doubt about it. Am I still here, Lisa? Could you see me? Or am I gone? Did it lock up? Let me know if you can hear me before I move on. Well, anyways, okay, you can hear. Good. So this is the European model. And hopefully this still remains. Here's a look at the European model, and you're going to see this is the thunderstorm activity for tomorrow night. Here's Saturday, Sunday, thunderstorms, Monday, thunderstorms, Tuesday. All right, here's Tuesday. NWAC graduation. See that little energy coming in? Pretty quiet during the morning into the early afternoon. And you guessed it. Oh, maybe not as much Tuesday. That might be why we have a 30%. And then look at what happens Wednesday. Too close for comfort. Got some pop-up storms, maybe not as close to us. And then Thursday, and then Friday, and then Saturday, it finally starts to move out. That's a front that comes through. So that'll cool things off for that third week in May. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Okay, good. You can hear me. So that storm's knocking on your doorstep right now. Waiting in Poto. Oh, Mike Allen. Okay, Mike Allen had a question. I didn't get to it. Let's see. Missed both of you. Mike Allen would be the graph. If you're still on here and you're joining me, where is that question? Or maybe someone else. Keep an eye. Oh, here we go. Any update from Josh out in Oklahoma? I heard he was storm chasing. So they were on a storm, and Colby Ward got next to it and totally killed it. And then after he got that, I think Colby got disgruntled and took off and didn't want to chase at night. And so they saw very little. They saw a little bit of structure, but it was a long drive for not much output. go back to Mega Doppler here. So there's the thunderstorm approaching Poto. This severe thunderstorm warning might not last very much longer. All right, so this is exactly what the Weather Service just said. The apex of the bow is moving out over the Worcester Mesonet site now. We will wait for the wind data to decide on a new warning. We're leaning against it at the moment. So if this warning dies off, then I think we can shut her down. Yeah, I hope they had some good podcasts to listen to. I sent them some funny animated GIFs. Poor Josh, I know. Boy, he's going to be tired in the morning. Yeah, I was a little surprised how quick they called it quits, but I get it. Storms were. This watch has made me nervous. Should I come back? No, you're good. I'm just texting Zach. Yeah, lightning is way down what it was. So not nearly as much lightning. It's slowing down too. And let's see what the Mesonet says in Worcester. So we can do that. Let's go to mesoanalysis here. Let's go to weather. I'm going to look at this up here. Wind. $205. Click on this. View full mediagram. Nothing like the Mesonet. It's great. Not much. $10.7. That's it. Okay, so anyways, let me show you what I'm looking at here. I'm looking at the Mesonet site, and Mesonet is basically a really awesome array of basically instruments and weather stations. So what I'll do is I'll bring this up a lot larger. But this is the Mesonet right here, and this is for the mediagram for Worcester, where the thunderstorm just went through. And you'll see here at 205, we'll see what the wind got up to. Refresh. Oh, okay, maybe it got a little stronger. Got up to 33 mile an hour. You can see the gust right there. So that was the leading edge of the line. It got up to about 34, 35 miles an hour. Wind direction change. And I bet you this warning's going to expire. That's going to be the end of it. Yeah, so there's the increase in winds right here. You can see it ramping up to about 35, and then that's about it. So the Mesonet's really cool because you can do a lot of stuff with this. Here's all the gusts. There's a 33 mile an hour gust. So it shows you where the strongest winds were, which is way below severe limits. Severe is 58 miles an hour or greater. And this was updated at 210. So that's not severe. I'm drinking Baja Blast and eating grilled cheese steak burrito. Man, does that sound good. I may have to run by Taco Bell on the way home. I know. There's a lot of people that chase Mike, but yeah, that's definitely dedication right now. The Baja Blast Bros. All right. So, Brianna, the storm is on your doorstep. What's it doing in Poto? It can't be real bad. maybe 30, 35 mile an hour winds. And that's about it. So this storm is falling apart, folks. It looks bad. It looks menacing. It looks like a bow echo, but the bow is racing out ahead of the line. The hail's a lot smaller. Storm's falling apart. Clusters kind of dying off. There are a few isolated cells that are popping up in northwest Arkansas, but it's just nothing to really write home about by any means. So here's a look at Mega Doppler. And once this warning expires, we're going to shut it down for the night. Very, very, very windy. Okay. Stand by. I'm just typing something. Well, let's zoom in on that. Yeah, it'll be a little windy, and it's rain. It'll definitely be loud rain, so it's definitely coming down. But there's just no tornado potential. A little bit of lightning off in the distance. Yep. 33, I mean. Yeah, that's it. That was all it was. All righty. Well, bedtime in Nevada. Get yourself a Baja Blast after you're done. I know I do need a Baja Blast. That'd be pretty good right now. So just to summarize, got one more update here. Just to summarize, we got some thunderstorms, standard Boeing echo segment. Yeah, there's not much happening. It's kind of weakening. There's a little bit on the leading edge of the line of some gusty winds. Other than that, everything's kind of dying down. This severe thunderstorm warning won't last. And additional storms might pop up, but nothing too concerning. So I would go to bed. You'll be totally fine. The energy's moving through. There might be some rumbles of thunder. We would be hard pressed to get any type of tornado potential. Now, during the day tomorrow, it's going to be warm. It's going to continue to be humid. Highs are going to be hitting the mid 80s, low to mid 80s, and then thunderstorms popping up tomorrow evening. Now, this bow echo that's happening in the river valley could maybe leave an outflow boundary, which can spark off additional storms tomorrow. But tornado potential isn't great either. It's mostly just a hail threat, hail and damaging wind with kind of downburst potential. There's just no storms popping up in northwest Arkansas. So once again, the HRRR was just so far off, it wasn't even remotely funny. Look at what the HRRR has. This is what's supposed to be happening. Just like storms everywhere. No, that's not happening at all. All righty. Wait until that warning expires. And we'll shut it down. You got any questions at all while I'm waiting here and just killing time? Mountains are tricky. This weather pattern's tricky. It's subtle, very little forcing, but it's enough moisture and instability that storms can pop up. So I wasn't too concerned about tornado potential. It was just not zero, but it's very close to it. There were tornado warnings with this line out west. So this is what the Weather Service said, by the way. Mountains are tricky, though. There's no doubt about that. And this is a tough place to forecast. Going to weather statement. So I think we'll both go to a special weather statement. fire weather data. 33 is the highest there. Yep. So. By the way, I could be up playing Tears for the Kingdom. Brianna, that's funny. So I have a question. So my Weather Channel app actually said we weren't supposed to get any rain, and here we are. No, we do not use the same kind of graphs. We use our own forecast, and you got to see this because I have not manipulated this. I have not touched this, but you're going to see our timeline, which, by the way, we definitely have rain. There's no doubt about it. So let me show you here real quick. Okay. Here is our River Valley pop. It's going to load here in just a second, Brianna. So this is what you can expect in the River Valley. And bam, we got it right there, 40%. And so 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, that's exactly what we're getting. I would say that, that's not 100% of the viewing area that's getting rain in the River Valley. It's more like 40%. And so I think that's about right. So we had that, and we've had that for a while, and we manipulate that. So I don't play TikTok. I do play, Tears of the Kingdom. You need to stream some of it. I'm sorry. That's what you were saying. My son downloaded it, and maybe I'll call in tomorrow and just play Zelda all day. Going to send you a barbecue video, voodoo peanut sauce. That sounds interesting. Sure, why not? But yeah, Tears of the Kingdom looks pretty awesome. I've waited so many years for that game to come out. But Brianna, there's your answer. Yes, we did call for rain in the River Valley. We had it in there, and that's what we got. Okay, this is a good question. What's the elevation difference between Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley? You could do something called a elevation profile. While I'm waiting for this warning to expire, might as well. We'll do an elevation profile, and you can get to see that. So stand by. I'll just go straight from Northwest Arkansas down to the River Valley, and I'll kind of show you how this all looks. Oh, wrong computer. This might take a little while to set up, though. But it'd be kind of cool for you, Alex. So what I'm doing is I'm setting up an elevation profile using Google Earth. You can do it online, but it's not as good as Google Earth Pro, which is a desktop application. I like calling it programs. I don't. Apps are phones. Apps aren't computers, in my opinion. But that's just me. What's it look like in the Jasper area? You're fine. There's not even a storm anywhere close, so you're good. You can just go to bed and wake up, and you might experience a little bit of light rain, but there is no reason to be worried. All right. It's going really slow, but stand by here. Okay. These are so cool, by the way, these elevation profiles. So here's what we're going to do. Delete. Yes. So we'll take this from Northwest Arkansas to the River Valley. So we'll draw a line. We'll just go all the way. We'll go to Bentonville, down to Podo. How about that? We'll just go right through Podo. Okay, save. Okay. Right click, show elevation profile. Okay. So here we go. So this is the Google Earth elevation profile, and you can literally see the elevation difference. So if you can see that good. Here, I'm gonna zoom in on that just a little bit. So there you go. Zoomed in on it a little bit, but this is an elevation profile. And what happens is when I move the cursor along, you're going to see the arrow move. So we're in Northwest Arkansas. You got about 12,000 or 1,200 feet, about 1,300 feet. Then we kind of drop down in the little valley. We hit another mountain, drop down in the valley. And so this is kind of like the plateau of Northwest Arkansas. Now watch what happens when we get into the Ozarks and the Boston Mountains. That goes way up in elevation. You can see those little peaks and stuff like that. Now, as we get down into the river valley, as you're dropping down I-49, now you're getting a lot lower, and look at that. There's your elevation in the river valley. Much different. Then we kind of bounce up. See that little mountain right there? That bounces up right there over Kavanaugh Hill. Actually, I don't hit Kavanaugh Hill with this, but you can see some of the terrain. There's a couple of those peaks, and then we drop down into the river valley. So if you're looking at this on the right-hand side, you've got the river valley. On the left-hand side, you've got Northwest Arkansas. And when we move along that elevation profile, imagine those southerly winds from the right side going up and over the mountains. This is why it's really hard for moisture sometimes to make it up that terrain. And air condenses and cools as it falls, right? Actually, as it condenses, it warms because latent heat release of water. As it evaporates, it cools. And as it cools, it falls and accelerates down to the ground. So that's kind of how that works. We're almost at 2:30, which means that this warning is about to drop and expire, and that's going to be the end of our severe weather threat. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. This warning is about to be dropped. Standard adiabatic lapse rate. So no, it's a standard adiabatic lapse rate for a dry adiabatic lapse rate is 9.8 degrees Celsius per kilometer. Now, if you want to do that in standard units, it's too early in the morning and it's too late for me to calculate that in math. But I can do that for you tomorrow or later today. But yeah, it's 9.8 degrees Celsius per kilometer is your dry adiabatic lapse rate. You still have some heavy rain, but nothing super major. Thank goodness. After the first line, nope, still heavy rain afterwards. It's going to be lighter rain afterwards. So there it is. Warnings expired. That's it. It's over. You guys need to go to bed just like I do. So I am tired. Whew. Yeah, what you were talking about, by the way, is the standard adiabatic lapse rate. It's 5.5 degrees Fahrenheit. What's going on here? Where did my thing go? It's 5.5 degrees Fahrenheit per 1,000 feet. So it's 5.5 degrees Fahrenheit per 1,000 feet. So really 9.8 degrees Celsius per kilometer. She's not feeling well, so I don't know if she's going to want donuts. You're welcome. Is there any watch warning for Northwest Arkansas? There's not even a storm. There's not even remotely close to a storm. Maybe that'll change. It doesn't look like it is. The storms are remaining north. If there are storms, it's not going to be a big deal. So I think we're all good. And on that note, that's it. See you guys. Take care. Have a great Friday morning. Go to bed, and we'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully all nice and rested. All right. God bless. See you.